Next, I'm going to ask Dr. Solomon to introduce our next two speakers.
Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Martin Plaut. Martin is a former BBC News Africa editor, now a retired senior researcher fellow at the University of London. Over the last couple of months, he has been covering the Horn and particularly the war on Tigray. And he has been making all he can for the world to know and give voice to the voiceless. I'm honored to invite Martin Plaut to pay his tribute to the fall. DDT, would you?
Hello, Mr. Plaut. You're unmuted. Mr. Plaut, you need to unmute. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't able to unmute you. You didn't allow me to. But I think you can now hear me.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Thank you. I won't repeat what has been said before. I mean, it's appalling. In the last day, I interviewed somebody who has just come out of Ethiopia and Tigray, a young woman. And what she had to say was utterly appalling. I mean, both the events inside Mekelle, which I'll return to in a moment, but the way that she was treated when she got to Addis after 9 searches before she was allowed to actually get on the plane, and many searches there. And the security forces said to her, they said to each other, she's a Tigrayan. And, you know, it's clear that ethnic profiling is now endemic across Ethiopia. And she said, I didn't even feel like it was my country anymore. I've lost my country. That is how she felt about it. And the story that she told of the treatment of people in Mekelle, and I'm sure it would be repeated around the region, probably much worse, in fact, of rape, of killings, of bombings. And my own background in the Horn of Africa comes not through Tigray, but through Eritrea. I went there twice during the War of Liberation and afterwards as well. Now, although I visited Ethiopia and reported on it for the BBC, it wasn't the way I came into the Horn. And the one thing she made absolutely clear, and it has been repeated time and again in this current war, is that the Eritrean troops are by far the worst behaved, utterly brutalized. I'm afraid what Isaias has done to his people is beyond belief. And the results you now see on the battlefield and the atrocities they are committing are absolutely indescribable. Well, I suppose they should be described. As a journalist, one should describe them, but I won't attempt to hear. And she was describing one particular incident, which again, I won't go into, but where an Oromo soldier actually intervened and said, how can you do this to people? And the Eritrean said, yeah, it's what we do. This is what we order to do. And the destruction that the Eritreans are enforcing on Tigray, the looting, the desecration, the removal of religious artifacts is absolutely appalling. And I think while, of course, we should remember those that have been named today, we should remember those that are not named, and those, the ordinary people who are dying. And I say this, you know, I remember reporting the 84-85 famine. I remember dealing with it. And I shudder to think that we could be in a similar position again where, you know, the dead are mount up, not just in dozens, but in hundreds and in thousands. And that is what really horrifies me. I mean, the people of Tigray in their own lifetimes have been through 3 wars: the War of Liberation, the border war, and now this war. And this is an intolerable suffering that people are being required to put up with. And I think it's utterly appalling. And the fact that, you know, the African Union negotiated Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, I'm a South African by origin, you know, my president in a sense, although I'm British, you know, negotiated for 3 former African presidents to mediate, to end this war. And the Ethiopian president accepted it. Immediately rejected by Prime Minister Abiy. Immediately rejected. Why? Did he actually want this slaughter to go on? And this is what is now happening. And, you know, we have to accept that this is utterly catastrophic, what is going on, because the people of Tigray are now fighting not just the Ethiopia and Amhara forces, but also the forces of Eritrea. And now we learn in the last week or so, you may already have known it, the Somali troops. And this could have consequences which go far beyond Tigray, across the whole of the region. And as the US Institute of Peace made clear, I think the day after the war erupted, that this could lead to the collapse of the Ethiopian state as a whole. And the consequences are beyond our understanding. I think this is such a dangerous moment, and the suffering that all this would involve. I don't want to use hyperbole. We all know what is at stake. I'm afraid the people that we commemorate today are just tragically the down payment on what your people will suffer. And this is something that we must work on. It is incumbent upon us in the outside world to highlight what is happening, so that you do not bear this cross on your own. Beyond that, I don't know what to say, except to extend to you all, as a people and as individuals, my condolences. Thank you.